Nam. Sat. Nam. You know, there's a place right in the very back. It's completely open if you want to take it. Satnam. Good to see everybody. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It was my birthday yesterday, so if you don't have Facebook, I mean, freaking A. It's so cute. Facebook is really very cute.
Yeah.
And birthdays are very cute. And, you know, I'm not good at making a big deal out of birthdays. You would think with this big personality, that's not just, it doesn't work. So I was just glad to just be yesterday, you know, and it was an amazing birthday. I worked, I had a meeting, and, you know, I was sort of like high on the sun, you know, because that's when your solar return is, you know, and just being who I am and loving that. And, you know, for me yesterday, it ended up to be a real prayer. If God could just give me this one thing, please. My husband had his surgery, and it was just an elbow surgery, but they gave him a medication afterwards, and he started losing blood, and it was like gnarly the last few days. And I was scared because he's so vibrant, and he looks so drawn. And yet last night when we were at Kaiser, they're like, we're going to give him a blood transfusion. And I'm just like, no, you know. But they didn't need to. And they switched what they were doing. And in just 24 hours, he's way better. But, you know, I mean, not that I would want that. But, you know, nothing doesn't happen because it's not supposed to. That was supposed to be my birthday. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because a few days before on Facebook, my teacher, Guru Jagat, got really into talking. No, actually, it wasn't Guru Jagat. It's this other beautiful Mara that I met in all the trainings up in LA. Put on Facebook the So Perk, which is used to call in the beloved, or if the beloved is there, you chant it to remember that he is God. And it was so funny. I was doing therapy with some spiritual coaching. Let's not call it therapy. Spiritual coaching this week, and I was encouraging her. She goes, I don't want him to be God. I'm like, oh, God, we're off to a good start. You know, but we all are God anyway. It's so that we can remember that. And sometimes in the West, you know, here's the thing. When the whole equality came, it also did this weird thing to men and women that made us same. And we are not the same. And it screwed us up, you know. There is a polarity between a man and a woman. Or even if you're gay, there's usually someone bringing in the male and the female. And that's the ignition, that's the desire. It's also how you're going to work out everything in the relationship. And it is beautiful. And a woman's power is different than a man's. And we don't want his, thank you very much, you know. And what the So Perk does, and I'm going to say it to you, and you're going to hear it at times, and the So Perk is about totally bowing before God. And I'll tell you this is how I got here. It was way before Kundalini, and I've talked to you guys before about, you know, I did the calling in the one. Right now I have like 4 women I'm working with, and one of them, I think she's got the guy. But anyway, so much fun to do this for a living, you know. Anyways, when I did it, I'm totally losing my train of thought. Oh my God.
So Perk.
Yeah, the So Perk. Oh, so when Tony comes into my life, so once the beloved is there, then all your shit comes up, right? I mean, that's when it gets fun, you know? So it's not, and the really great thing about calling in the one is you spend such a great, juicy time with their soul. And a lot of times now when I do it with people that are already married, so that they have this engagement and romance with the person's soul, because sometimes we bypass that. And that is the only connection that matters. So anyways, we've joked about, so my first husband, like, he cheated on me, stole my money. It was like, wow, so much fun. And so I remember when Tony and we were dating, and I was just head over heels in love. And what would often come up with my girlfriends is, how are you trusting this? Right? That's because once we've been hurt like that, how the hell are you going to trust this? And thank God, because I had such an amazing teacher, she goes, you're never going to trust a man, but you're going to trust God implicitly. And so in that doesn't mean I didn't lay open my heart, right? Because if you don't risk it all, you don't get to have it all. It really is, put it all on 9, freaking spin the wheel, you know? But if you have an engagement and a connection with God and your soul, knowing you are God, then you completely trust the journey, right? So like going back to what happened on my birthday and spending most of it in Kaiser. If I surrender, no, that's exactly where I'm supposed to be. And so I'm chanting, you know what, it was perfect. You know what it did? All I wanted yesterday was for him to feel better. And so in the middle of chanting this so perk for him, I just got in touch with how much I love him. And, he's normally just a pain in my ass. Anyone who knows him, he's like loud and crazy and bossing me around. It's like, oh, my Lord. Mahandraj Singh gets on my last nerve. And I just wanted that back. He was drawn and weak. And it was like, Lord, if you could just give him enough energy to drive me crazy, I would be so grateful. And so you see, the universe was paying attention to everything that was going on and said, I've got the perfect gift for you. Now, this is happening to all of us. This is happening to all of us all of the time. And I think this Kundalini Yoga, it's known as the yoga of awareness. The more you practice it, the better you will get at quickly remembering that that's what's happening. It takes practice. So you start off with easy things, like, the things that are easy to know they're in your life and on purpose. And the goodness is there because of the blessing of your soul and God. And you work up to the harder things, and you just get better and better. So what starts to happen is, you don't get the job, and you say, thank you. Thank you. I can't tell you when I finally did all the calling in the one and I put an ad out and I was going out with these guys and, I don't know what the deal is, but I kept attracting these people, these men, wonderful men, but they, like, one of them didn't have part of his leg, one of them didn't have all of his leg, and they were rejecting me. It's like, I can't even get a one-legged guy. What the hell? And I was like, what is going on, But, my teacher's like, it's perfect. There are times with Wanda, I want to slap her upside the head. It's like, this is not perfect. And you asked Tony, it's like, we had the moment he called me, I talked to him for 2 hours. I knew it was him because I had named my beloved Troy. And when he said his name was Tony, I'm like, oh, one letter off. I was a little hasty, obviously. But when we talked at the very end, I said, just out of curiosity, do you have all your arms and legs? And it wasn't because I didn't need him, but because I knew I'd get rejected if he was missing a leg. I was already 2 for 3, It's like, jeez, I can't take it, So anyway, it's all perfect. So this is Valentine's Day. And whatever is happening in your love life is perfect. And the only reason, if it sucks, that it's been around a long time is probably you haven't breathed into that. You probably haven't, okay, this is what it is. This is what's happening. I love Sri Teshwar. That was Yogananda's guru. And one of the things he said was, God is love. So whenever you hear the word God, you could just replace it as love. So everything, your soul is God. Your soul is love. And everything is expanding into a greater field of love. And our animosity, our challenges, they are all there for the love. So that they give us a little friction. So that we have something to create a polarity for. It's like, look at it. It's like So my first, I mean, I joke, we're like poster childs of how bad. It's like I totally surrendered into it, and I wasn't laughing about it when it was happening, obviously. I cried, and I remember begging God, please let me keep Gary. That was his name, Gary Blaze. My name is Marcia Blaze, like a fire. Anyway, and I couldn't keep him. The answer was no, you know, and I was really into country music, and I remember that song by Garth Brooks, Sometimes I Thank God for Unanswered Prayers. There is, and that's why in Kundalini and many spiritual practice, the knowing that God lives inside of you, like Yogi Bhajan says, damn all those religions that put God outside you. Because then you get this weird thing like someone's doing it to you thing going, and you can just ride that into the sunset, you know, being a victim. But we want to be a victor, not a victim, right? And so then when what is happening right in front of us isn't what we want, we have to soften up. So when Tony's like in the rooms, I was soft at Kaiser. This is it. There's nothing else to do but sit here and listen to mantra. And, you know, it's like, and I realized, you know, I hadn't chanted the Arti Das Bahi, which is prayers guaranteed. I hadn't done what would comfort my soul. And was like, all right, time out. Get yourself in a corner here and relate to this situation and relate to what's going on and relate to your soul. So that's what this class is for you. It's to relate to the Valentine. The one you've been waiting for lives inside of you. I am certain that it is that knowing that makes the juicy love, the romantic love with Tony possible. I romance my soul. My sadhana feels like a love affair. That is one of the most beautiful, yummy things about Yogi Bhajan is because he talked about sex, and he talked about marriage, and he talked about, you know, all these other parts. And he let God be the beloved. God is your mother and your father and all those things, but he's also your mate. And he would say, you look for your soulmate. Your mate is inside of you. It's your soul. It's so cute. It's so cute. And we got to know that so that then when we mirror it out to somebody outside of ourselves, we are clear about where it's coming from. That way, when they do things, we don't think, oh my God, what's happening to me? We start going, okay, so this is what I signed up for? Really? All right, why? And then that beauty and that support is right there for you. I mean, Yogi Bhajan, he's got some amazing, and we're going to play with it, you know, as time goes on, doing Venus Kriyas and stuff. I mean, there's this one Kriya, it's so funny. It's a Kriya like to end arguments, and there's this one part in the Kriya where it's like, so for 15 minutes you're chanting these things, and he says, and just get horny. Horny? It's so funny. He's like, yeah, just get really horny in this 15 minutes. And then he expands into this whole other stuff, and it's beautiful because sometimes he kind of makes fun of us and the insanity we do. It ends up really being into this whole inward. One of the things that's so funny in this Kriya too is for anger, an argument, you do like a downward dog, butts facing each other. You look through your legs and hands and do the breath of fire. And you know what? You're probably right. If you were pissed after you do that, it's like, what are we fighting about? You know? Let's now sit down and chant hummy hum and get horny. Whatever, you know? So, and setting that aside, you know, horniness is really about getting very juicy and desirous and you're like your energy is on high. It's when you bring that Shakti all the way up. It could lead to sex, but it could also lead to the most beautiful creations in your life. And in some way, that is really the feeling that happens in sadhana. We just are so detached, like we're not going to, you know, it's all the same. You know, it's like many yogis say the biggest orgasm that ever happened was the Big Bang. You know? And we have been opening. It's an opening. It's an explosion of love. And so let's do some Kundalini to explode into self-love today. All right? So bring your hands to your heart, and we do a tuning in. Is anybody new to Kundalini Yoga? Oh, Lord. So now you think,